Hello everyone, and welcome to week 10 of CIT 160, or Intro to JavaScript and HTML. I think I said that backwards, HTML and JavaScript. I think that's how anyway, it doesn't matter. But welcome to week 10. We have two pretty interesting and kind of complicated programs for you today. As you can see, the first one here I have in front of you. This is called the investment calculator. Now, the investment calculator is exactly what it sounds like: investing a certain amount of money in, putting it in a savings or putting it in an IRA or whichever. Putting money in and then just having a certain amount of time go by and with you paying regularly to it, and see how much investment you have made to yourself. So there's two that you're doing today. One is investment calculator, one is a loan calculator. They are slightly different because loan calculators are a little bit different with you borrowing money. Now, an investment calculator, the idea behind that is that you're not borrowing money from anybody. You are just giving money for it to be returned back to you with more. And a loan calculator is you taking money or borrowing money from somebody and then paying them back with interest. So you would deal with interest in both ways, but the interest is just different depending on what kind of investment you have and what kind of loan you have, all those different kinds of things. But we're going to talk about it. It is a little bit complicated, I would say, in the sense that you have to do a few things if you want it to come out right. So the problems or the equations that you use, if you look them up online, yeah, it'll give it to you in a like if you were writing down a paper. I'll show you what I mean by that, but it's really hard to get that copied down into something that your JavaScript can understand. So this is what your investment calculator looks like. Let me pull up the code that I've written for you just now. I still have Windchill put up there. Let's just change that to investment calculator. Investment calculator. Okay, so as you can see, I still have all the stuff up from the last video. I haven't changed anything. But for the investment calculator, as you can see here, I have my amount invested and then the box here for that, and then the annual rate and then the box for that, and then the number of years and then the box for that. So having them left to right like this is something that I wanted, and it took me a while to get it because I kept having the amount invested and then right below that have this box, and then annual rate and then a box, which works fine, but it didn't look the way I wanted it. So this is what I learned to do. There's something called a table, okay? And you need an opening and closing table tag for this in your HTML. But you do a table and then a table row, and each table row has an opening and closing. So a table row is just top to bottom. So this is a table row. This whole thing with the box included, this whole first thing is a row. This one with the box included is a row. And then this one is row number 3, and then row number 4. Okay, and then obviously row number 5 for the button. But if you jump back over here to the code, your table row, your TR, table row, is how you define you want to go to a new line, okay? Table data here has an opening and closing tag as well, but that is left to right how many data blocks you want to have, I guess. Data blocks is a good way to say it. So here's my amount invested. So table data, I just put amount invested, your principal. Then the next table data is going to be your text, IDP for principal. I put an ID of P for principal, which is how you're going to receive it. So you receive this input type text the same way you received it last week, the same way you do any of those things. You use a document.getElement by ID with P, dot value, just like you do up here. You do it all the way up here. But writing it that way allows it to be left to right, which is what I wanted. I wanted everything lined up so it looked pretty, and that's how you do it. You make sure that you have your table data, and the table data is your left to right, what pieces you want. As you can see here, table data 1, table data 2. That's how it prints out. So table data are a little weird when you first do them, but they're not that hard once you do them all. And then there's that. Now, I also did a table data so that I could have my output, which is whatever I wanted this function to print out, could print out right here, could print out underneath where you entered everything, which is what I actually wanted, and it works. So say you invested $100, and then you have an annual rate of, 8%. Whatever. So 8%, so 0.08. And then how many years are you putting the money into the account? Okay, I'll do 12 years. All right, and then how many periods per year? If you make a payment every month, enter 12 because there's 12 months in a year. We could also change this. You could say like number of years, 30 years, okay? And then periods per year is 12, okay? If you compute, it'll give you how much you'll be done, how much you will have at the end of that 30 years if you pay every month and you give however much you pay. Now, I don't exactly have a payment amount as in how much you're paying every month, but I think we're walking under the assumption that 100 is what you're doing. You invest 100 and then you pay 100 every month, and then you end up right around. Well, that's actually not accurate now that I think about it. Looking at that number, that's not accurate. This investment calculator is operating under the assumption, even though I put periods per year and how many payments you make, it's operating on the assumption that you're not making payments. It's just how many periods it's compounding. So you pay 100 and then it compounds 12 times per year and it goes for 30 years. That's actually what's happening. Sorry, I got myself a little mixed up there until I saw the number. But that's how this one works. Periods per year is just the number of times that it's compounded your investment. I did make a payment every month, but I guess that's my fault. That's my error for that. So that's what you want. Now I'm going to give you the function, I guess, or the equation for getting that amount. So here it is. I'm going to copy that over so you guys can take a look at it. Let's just put it right there. So this is what it is. You take the principal amount, you multiply it 1 plus the rate divided by the periods, and then you guys might remember this from math class, back in high school, and then an exponent of total periods. I hope that's making sense. So it's pretty simple. You take the principal, you multiply it by 1 plus, you multiply it by the whole of 1 plus the rate over the periods, and then you raise that power to the total periods. And total periods, just in case you're curious, what I did was periods times years, just so that you have however many periods you're doing, if that makes sense. So if you're doing it like I did up here, 30 years and 12 payments per, it's 12 times 30 to get how many total periods you have over the whole entire time. That's how that works. That is your equation for how this works. And you're going to have to end up calling that so that you can plug in all the values that you put into these boxes here to get it to print out correctly. Now, the other one is a loan, okay? So I'm going to jump over to that one. The loan is almost the same thing, except the equation is a little bit different because of how it all works. So let's get this over here. Okay, loan calculator. So you have a couple of extra things. I've already entered some values in there. Let's just get rid of that. So you have an amount borrowed. That's how much you originally take, and then your interest rate that they give you for annual interest rate. How many years you're doing it, and then payments per year. And this one, truly, you are making payments because you borrowed. So if you make a payment every month, enter 12. That's how many periods per year. It's the same thing as a period, like we did before. You hit compute payment. Now, keep in mind, you have to hit compute payment before you hit compute payoff amount, or else nothing will happen because it needs this number to run this part. As part of the class, they wanted you to do a number of payments paid to date. So once again, I did a table data, table row, exactly like this. And then the compute payment does almost exactly the same thing. Let's just enter the same values that we did before. So it's 0.08, and then the number of years we did, 30? We did 30, and then 12, and you hit compute payment. Boom. So this is how many payments you're going to make, this is how much you're going to pay every time you have to pay, which is, every month, as we've set up here. So it's slightly different because you're giving back how much you need to pay back every month versus how much interest you're accruing, which is what you, your total with interest as you did before. And then once you do that, you have another option that says number of payments you made to date, like how many have you already done? Okay, I've done 5. Okay, well then this is how much your payoff is. This is how much is left for you to pay, which is kind of crazy. Look at that number. It's just because you have all that interest building you up back there that really looks like you've only paid off, some few cents here of your total of $100 that you've taken. But these numbers are kind of outrageous for a loan. If you were taking a 30-year loan for $100, that's kind of ridiculous. That's preposterous. No one would ever do that. But it's just for numbers purposes. You could also just put 1,000 in here if you wanted to, just to be fun with it. Then that's still not completely accurate because no one would do a 30-year loan for $1,000, but it still functions essentially the same way. Now, I'll give you the equation for the loan calculator. to help you kind of understand how that works. I needed two separate things for this, by the way. When you get all this together, you're going to need something called pay per P, and I did that as a pay per period, per each period. So I'm going to actually give you the code, what the code looks like here, right there, so that you can just see what's going on, what was happening in my brain here. Okay, so you actually don't even need to do that. I don't know why I'm commenting it. Like I don't understand. Anyway, so you have a pay per P, which is your pay per period. Because you need that to understand how much if you're paying per period, then how much your total is going to end up being. So your pay per P, these are the equations. I'm not going to try to explain it, but it's just, it took me a long time to get all these parentheses correct to make sure I was doing our order of operations the correct way and get that all done. This is my 2 fixed to make sure that I had only 2 decimals when I was done here. And then you have your V, which I just named V because, whoa, smacking my microphone over here. My V is just something I chose. I'm not even really sure I had any significance to that. And then you have your P, which is your principal, plus 1, and you got your rate over your PP, and the PP was your total periods. There it is. I'm sorry, not total periods. Your pay per, right? That was correct. I think I said that right. Did I say that right? Let me double check over here. Yeah, it's how many payments per year you have. So payments per year, I just named it PP just to differentiate it from the other principal that we have. So you can name these something else if it makes it more sense to you, but PP, for the other, payment, the periods that I chose here, how many periods per year. And then you have it to an exponent. So this is really hard to explain, but this is the equation to get you there, to get you to where you need to be. And that V is what I returned back. When I was finished, I returned V to get what I needed to compute the balance, or total. I'm trying to find the words to describe what I'm trying to say, but to get all of your numbers. So make sure you have that. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but that is essentially what you are doing. You're taking your amount borrowed, you're using your annual interest rate and the number of years that you're going to have the loan, and then how many payments per year you're making. And then that is just how many payments you're going to make every month. And then number of payments to date, you say how many payments you've already made, and then this is how much is left on your ledger. This is also how much you would have to pay right now if you want to complete payoff and be completely done with the loan. So that's how this works. I don't need to teach you guys anything new. Everything that is going on here inside all these functions and things, it's everything that you guys have already learned. There's nothing new that I used or that I had to use for these 2 assignments. It's just everything that I've taught you up to this point. You just need to use a little bit of problem solving to get to where you need to be. And like I said, those 2 functions, or those not functions, but those 2 equations, like here, what did I call it? I called it let something. Let me look. What did I call it? Value. I called it value. Okay, so it doesn't really matter, but whatever you end up calling it. So these 2 equations that are for the separate pieces, those took me the longest out of everything that I did to try to make them work, because I had to take them from a picture. Someone drew, like I went online and looked up the equations, and someone gave the equation in a fraction form. So it was a number on top of a fraction, below the fraction. And so to write it out linearly like this is a little difficult to get it all down, but just make sure you got it all down. And that's pretty much it. That's all these 2 are. They're just an investment and a loan calculator. Go out, have some fun. If you have any questions, I didn't go over a whole lot, but if you guys would like me to go over a little bit more and go into more detail about some of these things, I will. Just let me know in the comments below, and I will get a video up shortly right after that comment if I can. But if you comment in the next little bit, in the next couple days, I am out of town. I probably won't be able to do more than just reply to your comment maybe. But I won't be able to make a video for the next week or so, probably just a week. Then after that, everything will be back to normal. I'll be back home, and I will be ready to answer any questions that you may have. But I'm just letting you know that I probably won't be able to make a video in this next week or so. But after that, I'll be ready and willing to check all comments and make videos and reply to people and give them any answers that they may need to help them with these files or with their class. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss next week's as we go further and further into this. All right, thanks guys. Bye.